On the forum.
Are we going live yet, or can I say one more thing?
Yep, we're going live. Are we live? We're live. Hi, everybody. Welcome to Reverse the Verse. It is Friday, February 19th, 2016. I say that every week because I don't always know. It's helpful to remind me as well as you.
Future historians can go back and be like, this is the one from Friday, October 3rd, 2016.
I'm sure that's a thing that will happen.
Do you see what I've been doing in my office all yesterday?
No, I know what you do in your office. We shouldn't talk about it. Reverse the Verse is the Cloud Community Games. Cloud Community Games.
No,
Cloud
that's not the name of the company you work for.
It's a wow.
Cloud
This went off the rails really quickly. Hi, if you're just joining us, Reverse the Verse is the Cloud Imperium Games community team's weekly informal live stream with the fans. We're going to talk about some stuff from the preceding week and then take some questions from the chats. I'm your community manager, Jared Huckabee. With me, as always, is our director of community engagement, online strategy, and spaceships, Mr. Ben Lesnick. Our subscription manager, the one responsible for all those cool doodads you get every month, Alexis Lesnick. And our editor for all of our video content, except this one, Justin Chambers. How you doing, Justin?
Good. How are you?
I'm sinking here.
You are.
Right.
No, you're fine. You're doing good.
Honesty.
So, we are not muted. People are messing with it. We can actually be heard, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Yeah.
Many people say that they could hear us.
We're muted. Thank you. Good job, person. Hold on, let's get that person's name and melt all of his ships. All right. So. Every week we start with a bit.
Where's 2-2?
We'll
What?
get to that. You can't even see the screen, but that is indeed what's on every screen here. We'll start with the week in review.
I guarantee you that's what's on every screen around the company right now.
Yes. So yes, we'll just start off by saying 2-2 is fervently at work. There are builds after builds after builds.
Does fervently mean there's terrible problems with it?
No, it means there's always a lot of work that goes into building one of these big patches, and it'll come. It's on its way.
Yes, we're working on getting a releasable BTU candidate. We have a limited option for tonight. We're talking about haven't had the go no go that's scheduled for 1 Pacific today. This will be what we call a dirty build. It has a lot of known issues. It's only pushed to first wave of PTU testers, if it happens at all. But fingers crossed.
Yes, and that's news as well. Whereas the last PTU patch we did the opt-in for everybody, we are going back to the wave system. You can, for this build, you'll see a post later on today from Will Leverett, and he'll explain how the waves are set up, so there's no more mystery about who gets into what and whatnot. So expect that later today, at least the post.
Yeah. We will let you know when we know more about 2-2. We're all pushing for it here. But if you saw our Twitter yesterday, I think Jared tweeted a screenshot from yesterday's build,
yes,
in which every character had a large replace me ball around their body.
Yes, we're gonna have Sean Tracy on the show in a little bit, probably around 11:30, and he'll talk to you about some of the challenges we faced with 2-2 and how we resolved them. So one of them is the tomato suit. The tomato suit was very interesting for a while.
So there's a bunch of known issues like the tomato suit that we know how to fix. It will just take a little bit more time, but we also have some other new stuff that we want to go ahead and get tested, such as the things causing the new wave system is the updates to the patcher, especially we want to see. So there will be hopefully some limited testing later today.
So we can review. Ben, what'd you do this week?
I got a scanner.
Yes, Ben got a scanner. And what have you been doing with that scanner, Ben?
So I have all of Chris's old Wing Commander movie documentation in my office, and every time our fancier executives see it, they're like, "Can we throw that away?" And I said, "If you get me a scanner, I'll scan it all, and then we can get rid of it." And so they got me a scanner. And
yes. And how many pages have you scanned this week?
Well, I only got the scanner yesterday.
Well, I was trying to give you a break for not having to say how many pages you did in a single day. I was trying to spread it out over a week.
I scanned 2,300 pages of Wing Commander in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, I was trying to make that sound better by saying it was spread over a week, and Ben didn't go for that. So yeah, 2,300 pages in a day.
That's pretty cool. I've learned a lot about the movie. Some of it made me sad.
Yeah, you were on a scanner's high last night.
Yeah.
You were on a scanner's high. We carpool home, and the whole time he was like, he was just talking about everything that he scanned and whatnot. He was on a scanner's high.
But I did some real work too. Most of which was 2 ship kickoffs earlier in the week for the Drake. We went into the meeting as the Monarch. It was the Corsair for a little while, and it ended up with Chris's blessing as the Drake Buccaneer, which I think will be the final name for that one. And we had every possible argument about it. Yes, it sounds a little bit too piratey. Yes, Corsair is also a cool name.
Corsair is a cool name.
There was a lot of pushback on Monarch because it seemed a little bit too stupid that butterflies came from the caterpillar.
A little too on the nose.
But since we're also doing the dragonfly, you can have dragonflies that come from a caterpillar.
Did you just confirm that we're doing the dragonfly now?
No, we did it last week, didn't we?
I don't know.
Okay. Maybe I did. And the other was the light Corvette, which I know everybody's asking about the manufacturer. It is going to be RSI. The name is not locked down yet, which means it's not CR approved, but our tentative name is Polaris.
Also, with the Buccaneer, we have opened up the Buccaneer subforum on the shipyard. It's only open to one topic right now because that's all we're ready to talk about right now, and that's ship image reference suggestions. Matt Sherman is taking the lead on that. There's a place for you to post basically your favorite single-seat fighter spaceships. And because we know what the design of the Buccaneer is, what it's designed to do and stuff, and we're not ready to talk about that yet, he'll pick the images that best, fit that, and that's how we create a reference guide.
Yeah, essentially it's a lighter, highly maneuverable pirate fighter. I love what we had talked about for the Cutlass in the past, Robus, but this is essentially Rob Irving's Cutlass, which is cool that we get to do that.
Let's see. Also this week, we did some work with Matt Sherman and Kirk Tomei about some additions to the Voyager Direct store that are coming. We are getting ready to do the item revamp.
Yes, you will see that. Yeah, I think you'll actually see the very, very first taste of that in 2.2. There's going to be gun cool. Is it gun coolers or?
It's coolers and power plants.
So there's going to be a couple of coolers we introduced, which is another system that you'll see in Voyager Direct Store. And I think with the patch after that, there's just a whole wide swath of things, including shields.
Yes. We anticipate shields about 2.3, and then in 2.2 we're doing coolers and power plants. So you'll be able to swap out different power plants and coolers and affect the performance of your individual ships. This is our first real foray into affecting the performance of the ships. So we're excited.
And since the new shields will be replacing the old ones, we had to work out a system by which people who had purchased shields in Voyager Direct and having them change will get the new types. And the good news is that some of them are staying at exactly equal value. A couple of them, especially the higher ones, you actually get people who have already bought them get more shield for their dollar.
Also this week, we did interviews for a new community manager position. We're still looking for great candidates, by the way, guys. So you can go to cloudimperiumgames.com/jobs and apply for a number of positions on the community team, including the community manager, marketing artist, / graphic designer, and
for
what was the third?
Copy editor.
Oh, and then marketing people. Yeah, marketing person to help Sandy out.
And a copy editor, right?
And a copy editor.
all sorts of jobs.
Yeah.
Yep. So we did a whole bunch of interviews.
Yep. So we're still looking for people to join the community team. So
come join us.
Apply there. What else did we do this week? That was pretty much all that was on my list. That was Around the Verse this week. Had a pretty nifty segment with Mark Aben about DataForge that a lot of people liked. It was pretty technical. It goes into a lot of how we're converting from the XML into what he called data blobs.
It's kind of inside Spaceball.
One of my favorite things is like hearing Ben say something and then waiting for Lando's reaction.
I thought Jared was community manager. Yes, but we can actually have more than one. So
yeah, I saw a thread on Reddit this morning. Like, they're going to fire Jared. Look at his job listing. First of all, if we were going to fire Jared, we wouldn't put the listing up first.
We're smarter than that.
There's what, 12 million?
Yes,
1.2 million of you out there, and only one of him. So
yes, Ben was the original community manager. Ben and even Pete Mackey was community
Mackey was community manager for a while.
while.
We had James Pugh and Will Lewis. All sorts of people come and go. And absolutely, we need more than one.
Yeah, Pete's now a designer. Ben, you're now director of community engagement on online strategy and spaceships.
Oh, and we had Patrick. Pat Packard had been our
Lead moderator.
lead moderator, which is what a community manager does at most companies. So it all swirls together.
Yep. So yeah. So basically, it's all on us at the moment here. So we're looking for some help. So if you're local to SoCal, that's a big help because that's where the position is, and you're interested in helping out. Apply online.
We're looking for people who love space games, who get Star Citizen, who are passionate about community building.
Also, include a cover letter.
Yes.
Put a cover letter on your resume. It's just a little extra step, guys.
Of the dozens and dozens of resumes we've seen, 2 had cover letters.
Tell us why you want to work here. It helps. Sometimes.
Just put I love Jared and Ben
Yeah.
on your cover letter.
Nobody loves Jared and Ben, so I know that's
Okay, I love Ben on your cover letter.
So what else did we do this week?
We went to Toys R Us.
Yes.
Oh, what'd you guys get at Toys R Us?
I didn't get anything.
Now Ben goes, "Can we go to Toys R Us after work?" And I'm like, "Yes." And then we go, and he doesn't get anything, and I end up with like $60 worth of crap. So that didn't work out well at all.
I had a lot of meetings about merchandise and shipping this week.
Yes, you did. You had a very long meeting about shipping.
Yes, we're looking into improving our shipping.
Let's place the blame where it. USPS sucks also.
Well, yes.
It's a new policy where international packages can no longer be tracked using USPS.
Right.
Which makes the already difficult tracking for us even more impossible. So we're trying to solve
Yes,
that.
we're implementing some new tracking for a few different countries. So for future merchandise shipments, we should have less issues with that. We're also doing some stuff for upcoming events, like, event swag, and getting the other stuff in order for merchandise in the store. So soon.
Sounds. I'm always excited for new stuff in the store. Mm-hmm. I like to buy stuff.
It's because you helped make the mouse pad.
Oh yes, I did.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, I helped like this much.
Yeah,
Most of
okay,
it was Gurmok,
yeah,
but I helped like this much.
Gurmok, whatever.
Yeah. For those of you asking about why we're adding items when we can't even equip shields, that's because the reason this is the system that is allowing us to equip those items, and we're starting off with something smaller than shields, coolers, and power plants.
This is literally the fix to that issue.
Yes, the shields are a bit more robust because the shields, the new system, and we'll get into it later, but the new system involves several shields that work at different levels and stuff like that, so it's a much more complicated system. So we're starting off with the easy stuff so we can get the equipping and swapping and stuff out, and then we'll move into shields the next patch. So that's why we're doing this first before the shields, because baby steps. All right, did you do anything interesting this week, Justin?
The usual.
All right, moving on.
editing.
You can't answer the usual, dude.
Well, we edited. They see everything I do, which is fortunate, because if they watch our YouTube channel, they get to see all the daily things that I do.
You've been trying to find Thomas Tennessee a date.
No. I have. I didn't know we were going to talk about that.
Oh, we're not talking about that.
We're not talking about that.
That's unhappening.
So,
that's unhappening. Forget that.
No, but he did tell me that he's begging me to remove the beard.
I am begging him to remove the beard.
I
said he should trim it a little bit so it starts off with that good canvas.
I don't know what he's talking about.
Like, you can't take
I'm
that
beard
away.
guy.
You have to put your best foot forward.
You know what? When I shaved the beard last time, the community was upset, and they said, "You
Why
lost
do you
your
look
beard."
like a 12-year-old?
Yes. So it's. We'll let the community decide.
I'm getting close to shaving. I'm working towards it.
I see that.
I'm gonna shave eventually.
I think you guys should all just shave once,
I do shave once,
and then just see what the reaction is to these new beautiful faces.
For those asking about out-of-state applications for jobs, absolutely, you can still submit your jobs, still submit your resume and your cover letter. Exceptional candidates will be considered from far, far away.
Oh, please. Make this nice, comfortable.
So now,
Well, there's a chair back there. You don't have to take that.
I know, but
joining us now is Sandy Gardner, Vice President of Marketing. How you doing, Sandy?
I'm good. I've stolen the rest of the wasabi peas.
Are they good?
And as a giant mega corporation, she has brought a box for herself to sit on.
I know, right?
There you go.
Fancy stuff.
You may have to use this to be heard, though. Okay. Is this working, Hennessy?
No one
No
knows.
one wants to hear me eat wasabi peas.
Okay.
Let's-
All right, I'm turning the microphone off
Probably
right
a
now.
very
Mic
specific
on that.
subset of people who
Yeah,
want to hear you.
there probably are people that would, yes.
All right. So at this point in the show, we will start taking questions from the
Audience.
audience. You can use either Twitch chat or RSI chat. Please preface your question with the word "question" in capital letters surrounded by brackets. That helps me pull it out from the detritus of chat. Question: what sort of lighting setup do you guys use in the studio? We actually use what are called Kino flow lights. We have 3 in front of us on boom stands, and there's actually one behind us up here. So they're natural light replicating Kino flow lights, the kind you would see in any television studio.
So bright you need sunglasses.
So that's the kind of lights that we use.
And not to bring everything back to Archive of Wing Commander material, but we're going to use these same lights to take a really high resolution picture of Chris Roberts' giant Wing Commander map probably next week.
Somebody's asking about our lights?
Yep.
Yes.
What did they ask exactly?
I answered.
What kind of lights do we use?
They wanted to know what kind of lights.
They are Kino
You're too
Flow.
late to
Yeah, I already
They're
did all that.
4-bank
I already
Kino
did all
flows,
that.
yeah.
5600K.
Yep,
We
yep.
have 4-foot and 2-foot.
Yep, already did all that.
Tom's excited to answer a question.
Yeah, well, nobody ever asked about.
I know. I was actually going to jump in and be like, finally, a question I can answer.
Are you guys over your ketosis yet? I am in the thralls of it. My mouth tastes like acetone right now.
Yeah, same here.
But I feel like you guys are fresher, though.
By the way, we've been doing great. If that's exciting news to anyone out there, I have not cheated at all.
I don't want to talk about my diet on the show.
Okay, we're not going to talk about
Thank
that show. But my body is kind of like slimming on the sides for some reason, so I'm getting this like natural hourglass figure. It's,
Oh, wow. Look at you. That's what we all want is an hourglass figure.
Question is, will you be able to buy glasses at Kasaba? What's going to be available in the first drop of Kasaba is still being determined. It's part of what the PTU process is.
But if the stuff I see going through Shotgun every day is accurate, it's a whole lot of pants.
Yeah, there's so many pants. So
No cargo pants.
no
cargo
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 pants.
pants.
Apparently, there are no cargo pants 900 years in the future. So we'll have to wait and see exactly what's in the first drop of Kasaba, and of course, things will be added to Kasaba, which with successive patches. So even if what you're looking for isn't in the first drop, it'll probably come. Did I miss the Star Trek watch along? Is it still happening?
Well,
That's a
funny,
nice segue.
it's funny you should ask.
So we keep talking about, we want to come in on Saturday, watch. Like, if you guys saw last year, we did all 6 Star Wars movies.
In one
Was
day.
that last year already?
It was last
Late
year.
last year.
Late last
December.
Okay.
So we did all 6 Star Wars movies. It was exhausting. It was fun. Somehow, hundreds and hundreds of people watched that and enjoyed it. And people keep saying, "Will you do it again?" So we're going to do it again tomorrow.
Yes.
We talked about doing a trilogy of Star Trek movies. We talked about doing Indiana Jones, all the Starship Troopers movies, and we kind of just settled on, hey, we just kind of want to hang out outside of work. So we have.
But at work.
At work.
Yeah.
Yes.
So we picked 10 possible options, things that are available on the U.S. Netflix, so people can watch along with us. And just before this show started, I put a poll up, the off-topic forum. That's the one at the very, very, very bottom of the forums, asking people to vote, and we will watch the top 2.
Tomorrow afternoon.
Yeah,
in California.
Pull up the list.
Wait,
We'll
what
read it off.
time? What time?
We're probably going to start about 1 p.m. Pacific time. Do a double feature. We'll watch a movie, have some pizza, watch another movie, and call it a day, I think. It's all in the sci-fi genre or thereabouts. Some are classics and some are classically bad.
What time is it starting?
Probably about 1.
Okay.
Oh, that's not bad.
Right, just a little afternoon movie, double feature movie kind of thing. We'll order some pizza from the North End Pizza place again, probably, or somewhere nearby. And it's anything ranging from like Star Trek and Wing Commander and Starship Troopers to stuff like Space Buddies and.
We have a
other
couple
things like
options
that.
there if you want to troll us.
Yes.
My vote is for Space Buddies and Masters of the Universe.
Masters of the Universe is on
Oh,
there.
Michael Masters of the Universe.
I was pushing for Prada de Nada, but I didn't get a lot of traction on that one.
That's actually, I've seen that movie.
Oh, of course.
We watched the trailer yesterday, and it seemed like it was really bad.
It's one of those movies you have to accept it for what it is.
Okay.
But if you appreciate, a good coming of age story.
Wilder
I
Valderrama's
want to
in
watch
it.
the Wing Commander movie with you.
Good coming of age story as well. So, hello, Matt.
So we took people's votes. Is that how it happened?
Yes, they're going to vote, and then tomorrow we will pick the 2 movies that they vote for. So.
I vote for Armageddon and
We got to get on
Hellboy.
there and vote.
You've got to get on there and vote. Log on to
I
the
need to
forums
log
and
on
cast your vote.
I'm going to cast my
I'm going to give this microphone to Matt Sherman, and then I'm going to walk into that room and turn it on
You
so
got
people
that
can hear him.
box.
I'm good.
It's not on yet, so let me get to
Alright.
it.
Well, oh wait, is that mic on? Because I can just take your
Just
seat.
take the chair.
Yeah, take
Well,
Oh,
yep.
too late.
You didn't say seat check.
I thought it was.
All right.
You take the mic.
didn't say seat.
Here, Tom, take my seat. I'll take the mic. It'll make me feel closer to Adele.
Just don't
Tom
drop
can
it.
take my seat in a minute.
You don't have a seat.
Well, I was ready to give a show, and now
Hey,
I
everybody
know.
out
It looked like
there.
you're about to break out into song.
I guess I'll sit back down.
So, Matt Sherman, what brings you to our neck of the woods?
Actually, I wanted to stop by. So, if you guys follow the Cloud Imperium Games Facebook, Francesca posted an image. So, over the weekend, myself, Dennis, and Jeremiah, we went to an event called OrcCon to play D&D like a bunch of nerds for 24, 48 odd hours. And we had a really fun coincidence where our very last game of the weekend, we ended up at a table with a pair of Star Citizen backers who've actually they'd actually done a tour last year of the Santa Monica office. So I just wanted to give a shout out to Mark and John Mark Bailey. It was a lot of fun playing D&D with you guys.
You know John Mark Bailey.
Yep. Yeah, it was like we just signed up for any random open table, and then just by coincidence it's like, oh, all right, we've got a full table of Star Citizen people here now. This is cool.
What that reminded me of is the other thing that was posted to the Cloud Imperium Facebook this week, which is that we're now a dog-friendly workplace.
Oh yes.
Yes.
Is the dog here now, or was it just that day?
Brian
Brian.
Hughes.
It was the
Oh.
and it was an awesome dog.
So someday you'll see a dog on this show.
Very
Maybe.
cute dog.
Allie, who took those amazing photos?
Why, I think that was you, Justin Chambers.
Was it? Oh, I'm just.
Yep.
You're like pimping each other.
I didn't want to be involved in that, by the way.
But you shine the brightest, Allie.
Oh my god. Make Justin leave.
Doesn't leave.
Also, from this week, last weekend rather, since the time of the last show, our BBC Click episode.
Oh, right. There's a bunch of things. Click.
Yeah, so we were featured on BBC Click on what station?
BBC.
I set them up for that. So it was on the BBC, BBC America, BBC World News, either one of those channels if you're here in the U.S. And an extended version was posted online. That's available to everybody worldwide. I thought it was a pretty good piece.
Yeah.
I thought it was really good.
I was most excited because they asked me to. Requests often come to us, hey, we need footage of Wing Commander, we need screenshots of Wing Commander, we need something for Wing Commander, and I was like, okay, I don't want them to take the same YouTube video again. Jared set it up for me to record, and I flew a Hornet. I think I flew an entire mission of Wing 1 and one of Wing 3, and there's like 2 seconds of me flying the Hornet in the BBC thing. So I got to blow up a Salty live on international TV, so I'm pretty proud of that.
Very happy with that. He was very happy with
He
that.
was very, very proud when he saw that.
Did you call your mom?
I did. My other one, because there's like a bunch of Wing Commander retrospectives that people are working on right now, and David Swafford sends it to me. My other favorite one this week was the guy who wanted a picture of Chris's car from 1989.
Oh yeah, the one that he gave to Mark.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. So, and I like that Chris just assumes that I would have that picture. So,
And you did. Right?
yes.
Okay.
Yes. That's the key
assumed
point,
correctly.
is that he assumed and you did. So.
the other thing this week was
Time Warner.
the Time Warner. Yes.
Yes. That was a really good commercial.
It was.
It was.
a really good.
Beautifully shot.
Yes.
It was.
Otherwise, it looked very nice.
Yes, that was shot by a company from the East Coast called Grain Digital, who was hired by Time Warner to come in and film. And it was a large crew. They had 20 to 30 people and
Expensive cameras,
Oh, yeah, I
jibs, lights.
yeah, they had Alexa cameras and
I saw
fancy
somebody
lights
on Reddit was like, oh, well, why doesn't the community stuff look this way? And I just thought back to the day of the shoot itself where I had to see, it was like, yeah, look at that lens. That costs more than we make in a year.
yes.
So it was very cool seeing how they worked. And someday we'll have a 30-person team with $100,000 cameras that we can.
We can do the same
I
thing.
look like a weirdo in the background. Yeah, just not.
But honestly,
that's why I'm not showing
they
it so you
spent
can see
3
it.
days on 90 seconds.
Yeah,
so they had a lot more time.
Yeah, and
than
3
we
days.
did.
Yeah, 3 days to shoot 2 minutes.
They
or
didn't
90
shoot
seconds,
that
yeah.
in an hour like we normally do.
Yeah.
So that's yeah. So that's what we look like on professional cameras. I showed my mom and she was like, "I'm so proud of you, sweetie. Get a haircut."
I like that they did the whole Chris slow motion walk. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
There was more to that too,
Always
by
like
the
lit
way.
from behind. Yeah.
Yeah.
All the flares and stuff like
All it was
that.
missing was a fog
It
machine
wasn't
and
J.J.
fireworks.
Abrams, but it was.
It was close enough.
Michael Bay shot.
Yes. In contrast to the 30 people and the hundreds of thousands of dollars of equipment, we shoot our stuff on Canon DSLRs and with Thomas Hennessy here. So I think we do a pretty good job for what we have. So thank you, Thomas, for the work that you put into these things.
But the piece itself was really cool. I mean, the 90-second one, they've got a 90-second one you can access online, and it's a little bit longer, and it does kind of, it's great exposure for the game.
We're not going to talk too much about 2.2 features just yet because they are literally in the other room locking that stuff down. So because we're in here and we're not in there, I don't want to say something's going to be in there and then find out that they.
Well, no, I think we can talk a little bit about what they're trying to get in at least, because we're at the point where we've hit the, get your features in. Not everything's working right now. That's why you're not playing 2.2 right now. But we could talk about.
I mean, a lot of it's just getting everything stabilized, make sure everything that we are going to be adding or changing is going to work, is going to play nicely, and isn't going to cause you guys any problems when you start grabbing the PTU, hopefully in the very near future. So
all sorts of updates that you won't necessarily see, changes to the patcher, to data reporting, all sorts of things like that. More exciting for end users, we've got the EVA stuff. We've got some changes to the reputation system. The addition of a reputation system. There's been some changes to the layout of Crusader, where things are, how distant things are from one another. We have the Flyable Saber, hangar-ready Jean Scout. What else is in there?
I like how you just throw those in there kind of casually. Like,
People know those.
Flyable
I'm sure
Saber,
we've talked
Hangar
about
Ready,
those
John
before.
Scout.
Yeah, we talked about those before.
I'm just excited we are getting, and I think you guys already mentioned at the beginning of the program, the first two of our bigger components for the big retrofit that's been going on with the power plants and coolers going in. That's for me, that's a big relief. It's like, all right, we're really starting to get this system rolled out, getting basically our safer components for this new system rolled out, test bed that, make sure everything's stable, because like the shield stuff you guys mentioned, we're really working on making that a lot more involved in just interesting gameplay. So especially when you have an engineer managing a shield station, they're going to feel like they're having a better impact. It's just that takes a little bit longer. So we're making sure the other parts are working and get those out and in your hands now.
Yeah. The hostility system should be interesting when that fully comes online. And there's even talk about the possibility of new FPS weapons, but they're still testing those. So we'll see. So 2.2. It's what's for dinner.
Yep.
My lie, you son.
Will the Saber be purchasable with the release of 2.2 when it goes to live? I would think.
When it goes to live, we'll bring back at least have a temporary sale. We'll bring back the Saber and the Scout, and anybody who wants one can pick one up. But probably not for the PTU. Although I think they're talking about giving the first wave PTU folks access to the Saber to test, just because we want to see it in action. Regardless.
What are you doing?
You said you deserve a pat on the back for doing such a great job. So
Don't touch me.
I decided. This is why he doesn't get pats on the back.
Any updates on loot or rewards for doing missions in the game?
Not yet. That's all going to come with when we start doing rec and economy and so on in Crusader. A little bit more on that.
Yeah, I think persistence is a big part of that because
Yeah.
you don't want a reward that disappears when you log out of the game. So, somebody asked if they can still purchase previous sub rewards if they just became a sub now.
Yes, you can.
That was
I
my
was sitting
answer.
here.
And you
I was sitting here.
You were just so excited. Yes, you can if you become a subscriber. And I saw somebody asking earlier about the Mustang flare from last week. If that's not in the store now, it should be. So I'll check after the show.
Yes. Generally speaking, if you're a subscriber, all previous subscriber rewards should be available for
They're
purchase.
all there. Yep. If you become a subscriber, there's a whole store category with all of them there.
Yes, and if you notice there's one missing, let us know.
Yep.
We'll fix it.
What's winning the poll?
What?
Winnie the Pooh.
What's winning the poll?
Oh,
Winning the poll.
I closed that up.
Wow.
That's
This is a
that's
lot.
the Eastern European version of Winnie the Pooh.
It did sound like that.
By the way, there actually is a Soviet version of Winnie the Pooh you can look up. There's cartoons of it.
That's amazing.
Seen that?
Yeah.
Oh boy. That sounds like a Rick and Morty sketch. It sounds Soviet Winnie the Pooh.
See, they just started They just started doing the recording for the new season yesterday.
Winnie the Pooh?
No, Rick and Morty. So they. All right, who's?
And there's the
do I have to
Adventure
vote?
Brothers
Okay,
era.
good.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
a
want
great
to.
time
I don't
for
want to vote.
cartoons.
What is currently winning is. Oh, you put Serenity on here. Obviously, it's Serenity followed by Starship Troopers.
That's a good double
What
feature.
about where's Space Buddies in that?
Space Buddies has 0.85%.
Really?
You might be the
Well, I was
only
gonna
person
go
who
with
voted
No,
for
I
Space
think
Buddies.
Mass-
Do you have
actually haven't
space
voted
truckers
yet.
on the
Yeah,
list?
Masters of the Universe having a respectable showing though.
God,
Currently
alright,
beating Wing
I'm
Commander.
gonna go vote after the show for Masters of the Universe.
Guys, I just want to remind you that there's a lot of stuff I can say about the Wing Commander movie.
That's why you shouldn't vote for it.
Yeah.
Because I had to listen to that last week.
Yes, he just watched it last week.
But listen, when I watched it, I was wishing I had Ben's interpretation of all these things. He should just do a commentary we can put online.
I should.
Of course, Serenity. I think it's going to win. I mean,
Yeah.
Let's face
Any updates on the Reliant?
It's really cool.
It's very cool.
That's not an update. It's always been cool.
Yeah. I mean, it's still just getting set up and some work for hangar ready. I can't really say when that's going to be, but
I would suggest tuning in to 10 for the developers on Monday. You might learn some stuff about the Reliant.
news to me as well.
Would you like to see
yeah.
about the jump point volume two?
So,
I would just preface that there's some issues right now with the 2.2 and the 10 for the developers and making sure we get it out on Monday. So
Yeah.
if I can get Kurt Tomei,
Yes. 10 for the developers is currently in danger right now because everybody's been crunching for 2.2. We haven't been able to shoot it yet. So Hennessy's like, just tell them it might be late.
I'm trying to get it, but he keeps pushing back until it gets.
Yes, but it is
Yeah.
scheduled to include Kirk Tomei, who is currently hip deep in the Reliant. So
Well, no, he's hip deep in
a lot of things, but
Yeah.
Okay.
Scout.
It's a
Yeah.
new one.
What did I say?
You were saying Reliant. I'm hip deep in the Reliant. He's hip deep.
Oh,
in
but he's
Scout.
talking about. Oh no, yeah, it's Scout. Never mind.
Yeah.
Words.
Thanks, Jared.
The important thing is we all use our hips.
Yes.
these hips were made. Never mind.
Yes.
Character customization. Where's that at?
Boston.
I threw a vote in for Space Buddies.
You're voting for space.
Well done.
No, Forrest and Omar continue to work on character customization, as does the team in Austin. They're doing some fantastic work. Walking past their desk every day is a treasure. It'll be cool when it's here.
A treasure.
Yes, I know a lot of us. XCOM 2 came out this week, and they have a pretty cool character creator. So we were looking at that, and so I was saying, "Oh, we're doing that, and no, we're doing that," and so it's cool. XCOM 2. I'd never played XCOM. Looking at it, I realized it's way too hard a game for me to ever play. I'm not that good. Any updates on the Prowler yet, Ben?
No updates now. It's no.
Yes. How about the lobby system?
Lobby
The,
System?
the lobby system. The
You said
lobby.
blobby.
Yeah.
You did say blobby system.
Yeah, we did.
Pretty sure I
Absolutely.
said.
You said blobby.
The lobby system.
Our diets are generally reducing the blobby system.
Yes, yes. The carbs are brain food. So when you cut out carbs, this is the kind of stuff that's going to happen. We're going to be like this for a little bit. So no updates to the lobby system that I'm aware of. We're still working on it. I haven't heard anything the last couple days. So I'll check when we're done here. See if we can't give you some more information. Starfare continues to look amazing. It's not 2-2, so no Starfare in 2-2, but work continues on it. It is.
It's a huge.
It's going to be another watershed moment for Star Citizen. It is a fantastic addition.
Yeah, like just all the little tunnel, well, not tunnels, but just all the hallways and rooms that are all putting the Starfare together. If you think right now the Constellation's amazing for just how detailed that is, it's like, well, the Starfare's a lot bigger than the Constellation, so it's going to be really fun to get that thing
Any
in.
questions on the HOTAS pre-order?
You might say the Starfare is a ship that won't misc. Can't misc.
I promise you, I would not say that. Nobody would say that other than you. Did you want to answer that?
We're going back and forth on the quality, so until that's where we want it, then we can't announce.
Okay. I don't know if she was close enough to the mic to be able to hear. The question somebody asked about the Star Citizen HOTAS, we are going back and forth on the quality right now. So we're still working on it. And we don't want to say anything right now while things are still up in the air.
Stream explosion incoming.
Can someone please hurt Ben?
Yeah.
Hurt Ben?
That's what it says.
But I'm a treasure.
I pinched him.
Are you sure?
All
I'm
right.
gonna go find some food. Sorry.
I know.
So joining us right now.
First.
How you doing, Sean Tracy?
Awesome.
So we were bringing you here to. We've been doing some slight updates on 2.2, but that's why we wanted to bring you here.
Mm-hmm.
So we kind of tell us about
A lot of
2.2.
updates.
Tell us about
on
2.2.
2.2. What, like the major updates that are going on, or some of the problems that we're running into?
Let's start
What do
with
you
the
wanna
good
talk
stuff,
about?
and then we can talk a little bit about the bad stuff.
Well, I'm all about the bad stuff.
I know,
That's
that's
the
why
thing.
I'm
That's
telling you
mostly what
so.
I'm looking at all
Yeah.
day. Is nobody ever, you know what? Nobody ever comes to me and they're like, I found a fix. I found a solution. It's never that. It's really like a really, really depressing day, because it's always like, hey Sean, I got a problem. Hey Sean, I found this. And you know what I tell the developers when they do that? Because it's really unfair for a developer to come to me and say, hey, I found a bug. I went, wait, we pay you to find fixes.
Yeah.
Find fixes. Don't find bugs. We have QA to find bugs.
Yeah.
I'm just, anyways. Find fixes, not bugs. That's the deal.
So tell us about some of the
anyways,
good
yes,
stuff first.
2.2. Have you guys talked about the player hostility stuff?
Only mentioned
Just
it.
that it exists.
Right, okay, so player hostility exists. There'll be a big write-up on it, and I don't want to kind of try to explain it and get it wrong. That's the thing.
We do that all the time here.
No, I mean, mostly it's just, it gives you guys, it's like a reputation. It's like a really, not a very granular reputation system, but it's really meant to...
It's the very first iteration of it.
Right, and again, with the Star Citizen, we always want like a player-generated mission base, because that's what gives us the emergent gameplay, right? So it's things like having a distress beacon and dropping a distress beacon. Now, maybe a player's actually in trouble and he drops a distress beacon. Maybe a player drops a distress beacon because he wants to bring people in. This is what I mean about emergent gameplay. Where's the camera? That one?
Yeah.
Okay. So with the reputation system, what it is, if there's somebody griefing other players, they will go up in sort of a red reputation level to a point where there will be a bounty put out on them, I believe. I don't know exactly on the design side what you give the players or anything for killing these guys, but they're basically bright red. They become a mission in themselves, basically, to go get rid of these guys. And it's not to get rid of them, but it's more of a challenge if somebody wants to put themselves up to a high reputation or a high... what's the wording we're using? I don't even know off the top of my head for the design side, but a high hostility level, basically. There'll be a mission and you can go hunt these guys down. You can group up with a couple buddies. Most MMOs have something to this effect where a PvPer, right, is going to be bright red. I played a game, Lineage 2, for a number of years, and if you ever saw a bright red guy coming your way, you're going to take off and run. or you're going to try to group up with some people and try to go fight them. So that's pretty cool. It's a great system. Gives a lot more gameplay, so that's fun. There's a lot of stuff on the tech side that we've fixed up for 2.2. Tons and tons of bugs that we've rectified. Some of the bigger ones are surrounding EVA, getting in and out of the ships, transitioning different physics grids. I mean, these are all kind of unsexy things, but very, very important to be fixed. One of the other things that we're working on is, even just 2 days ago, we were running a bunch of our assets through a build process. We use something called a resource compiler, and it's kind of a magic black box in the build system that takes all of our source assets, converts them into a target format, right? So what you do, you export a model from Max, it then goes up on Perforce, the build system pulls down from Perforce, compiles the asset, and it may or may not have errors, and then ends up in the build. Now, what you showed very nicely on your Twitter, I think, the other day, was a Tomato Man. So Tomato Man is actually just replace me balls, is what they are. It's a really simple sphere that has one texture map on it that literally says replace me.
Can you say replace me balls one more time?
Replace me balls. Tomato balls. Yeah. Tomato balls. So
I just wanted people to have the audio clip
of me saying balls.
No, replace me balls.
Oh, just the full
Like
thing.
a pirate?
Yeah, so I can put you in a pirate set and say replace me balls.
So something interesting with that is that we have wanted to convert our mesh format for a while for most of our assets. And what I mean by that is in video games and real-time rendering, we use a certain floating point. So on consoles, you kind of have to use a 16-bit floating point, where on PC, you can allow some assets to have like a 32-bit floating point, which when I explain this, when it comes to an asset, what it means is that position of that vertice is accurate to a 32-bit floating point versus a 16-bit floating point. And as everybody knows, if you've ever converted an analog a signal to digital signal, there's quantization that happens, and quantization means converting 32-bit down to a lower fidelity, basically, is what it is.
As everybody knows.
What I mean by fidelity is, the accuracy of the vert. So what happens to the artists is that they'll run it through 3ds Max, they'll export it as 32-bit floating point, but the build process will then quantize it down to 16-bit. And what that can do is that, it'll take a mesh like this microphone and it'll crumple it just a little bit. This vert will be actually just accurate here. It's like rounding is what it's doing. So when you round a mesh, it can destroy it, is the thing. And our artists spend so much time on every single vert being just right, so that when they see their asset in the build, they freak out. They get not happy for obvious reasons, right? Because, hey, I made this asset, it's really gorgeous, and now you've run it through my through your build process, you've made it optimized, great, but you also made it ugly, or whatever has happened to it. So basically, Carson had worked on a new mesh format that we want to support, and this is a flat integer 16. And yeah, we're running all the assets through that. But of course, with doing that, anytime you do that, you end up with errors. So we have about 300, and yeah, QA was super excited about that yesterday. When I said put a Jira, put a task for every single one one of those issues.
And Jake Ross came in this morning and saw a list of
300 some odd. Right. And then they tried to tell me, maybe we'll just release with that. I'm like, no, we're not going to release with that. We're going to fix the issues, right? And here's the thing, they're all super easy fixes. It's not that they take a long time, and we've got such a big company, in fact. It's just that, QA's not happy about sitting there making 300 bugs. But again, I timed them. It took them 35 minutes as a group to create all those. So I'm like, you guys are doing fine. You're okay. Didn't take all day. So so we just got to get those assets fixed. Now, I think the idea is that we might not get through all 300 of them by the time PTU goes live. So there may be a missing asset or two. If there's a wall not there or whatever, then that's what's going to happen if we want to release it with the asset errors. Now, will we get them fixed? Absolutely. It's just how long that's going to take. I don't know.
Cool.
And that's up to production. So I'm just here to tell you about the problems.
Yep.
Like I said, all my stuff is negative and not happy stuff.
Tell us about some of the benefits of the new EVA system, though. once it's all working?
You're gonna know it as soon as you try it. It's drastically different. I mean, it's hard to it's a little bit apples and oranges because the control method is completely different. It's not animation controlled. It's purely physical, which means it flies a lot more like the ships. And if I had to give a real benefit to it, it's more unified to how the ships move around. And this was always kind of frustrating to me when I jumped out of the ship, and then all of a sudden my control scheme was drastically different. There needs to be some level of unification when you go up through from EVA to ship to FPS combat. Like, I mean, yeah, it's got to be similar. So that probably the biggest benefit is that it's more like the ships. There's tons of little run-ons to it that'll make the visuals of other people in the EVA a lot cooler, and that's stuff I've talked about before, which is
like the change in the center of mass going from
changing the center. Well, that was an ugly one. When you rotate it around the feet, that looks ridiculous. So now you actually always rotate around center of mass, regardless of what's on your body, which is pretty cool. So if you have a helmet, it actually adjusts a little bit. If you don't have a helmet, which that's not going to make a lot of sense
bad idea
out in space, but. Just to give an example of the weight distribution on your character, which is pretty cool. And then on top of that, we've got parameterized thrusters. I always make it like a real technical word. Parameterized thrusters. This just means that the amount of thrust the effect that comes out of the back is actually driven by the amount of thrust that you're applying. So if you just apply a tiny bit of thrust, it's just a tiny little effect. And if you're sitting there, pedal to the metal type thing, then it's.
And the UK audio team have redone all the sounds for the EVA for the thrusters.
That's right, which are also parameterized. So every time we send some sort of throttle into it, you get a different sound. So it's not the infamous pss, 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 pss. It's like, it adjusts based on how much you're throwing in. I wonder how that came across. The mic's probably awful.
The mics are good.
Yeah. All right.
We spent money on the mics.
They're not on the cameras, but on all the microphones.
That's a ton of money.
Hey, I'm the one who went. It was
A reasonable amount.
yes, a reasonable amount.
And they were buy two get two free.
Yes,
Hey,
yes. Well, I shopped around.
oddly enough, a buy anything, get anything free is a deal.
I'm seeing a lot of questions about procedural generation since you're the front-facing procedural generation guy since you were part of the initial demo.
Right.
Yeah,
And I haven't even worked on it that much
Yeah.
since, to be honest with you.
Who did work on the procedural generation?
Marco Corbetta, Carson Wenzel, a guy named Pascal was doing a lot of the art. The main three, anyway.
Three people you will never see.
But
on camera.
again, it's like, but it's a team here, right? Like,
Yes.
There's bits and pieces of everyone.
That's an important thing that gets lost lots of times. Is you may see the same people in front of the camera giving you this information, but this is a team of over 300 people just in our company, and then all the outsourcers that are working on this. It is definitely a group effort. And while you may be the one to present something, or Matt may be the one to present something, or us,
Right. Doesn't mean we actually made it.
we're the representatives.
And trust me, those are real uncomfortable demos when you've not had anything to do with anything,
You're
and then
so
you're the
nervous.
one having to show it now.
You're so
Luckily, the
nervous.
procedural one I had a little bit of say in, so we definitely got to do some stuff.
I like that we're showing procedural generation for the first time. The thing you're most nervous about was being able to land.
Yeah, definitely.
He's not good at landing.
No, I'm not good at landing, but it's because I would argue it's because our landing system is not good, not because I'm not good.
Well, that'll be the quote.
6 of one, half dozen of the other.
But then again, people were watching my video of the landing. They're like, why didn't you just go decoupled? Why didn't you just do that? What you don't know is that the thrust of the ship was 4,000 times what it was meant to be, so I had to be real touchy with it. Some really cool stuff got working on the planets this week. I don't know if I can actually say what... we shown some physics stuff with it, so we had talked about the fact that we have physics on it now. There's been some really nice work on the gravity for the planets, so that's really cool. But with Chris being out there in Frankfurt with the guys directly, I can imagine that every day he was pushing something that they had to get done. So some great work this week anyways.
Gotcha. Let's see. People have stopped putting questions. They're just listening to you talk.
Oh, that's nice.
Batman versus Superman. That's the question we're looking
Or
at.
I put them to sleep, one of the two, with quantization and 32-bit floating point.
Any updates on the new FPS animations?
It depends on what animations. We're always updating them. So yes, there's the locomotion sets have been in there for a while, I think. One of the big refactors that we're doing, and this is super behind the scenes, is that we're changing our animation pipeline. And I hate to just throw out the word pipeline because it's so nebulous, but we're changing the tools that we use to actually export these animations. So doing that requires a ton of work. The problem with it is that we've got something to the order of 3,500 animations across the project. That includes ships, characters, anything that moves in the game. So whenever we do a change like this, we have to make sure that we support all the legacy assets. Basically, we've got to batch export all these things. It requires a lot of tools work that is, again, a very unsexy thing to be working on, because you've done your job right when you have exactly what you started with, which seems very strange. But you are then on the new pipeline, which is quite nice. And again, this is all about scalability. You get those animations done in the first place. They took you 2.5 years to do. The hope is that as you improve your pipeline, right, it takes you half time. Then you take another half off that. Then you take another half off that. So as long as you can scale a lot going forward, then it's a good thing. So and that's the idea with the FPS animation. So we've been converting this over to another pipeline. And having said that, one of the things that Steven's actually working on today is we have a whole state for the hunch. And people have probably noticed this. In the hangars, when you walk under a ship, they wanted to have a whole movement state. Yeah, but it makes no sense for this thing to be an entire movement state in itself. So you guys know, most of our animations are split up between sort of a full body or an upper body kind of animation, and we author them very differently. So when you go walking around the hangar, you walk under a ship, your guy hunches like this. What's actually happening behind the scenes is you're going from a normal relaxed walk locomotion to the relaxed hunch locomotion. But again, a locomotion set takes about 96 assets for the full body of the asset. So why, the hunch, you don't walk that much differently than you do when you're just walking relaxed. So why is the hunch a completely whole separate set of motion set when it could just be an upper body additive? And what I mean by an upper body additive, you take exactly what your relaxed walk is, and then you add one layer on top of that actually says, oh, hunch a little bit. So then, rather than initiating a whole another set of 96 assets that you've got to stream in or do whatever with, and keep up to date, we're just going to put an upper body additive. So yeah, the state still exists, but you're actually reusing what the relaxed no weapon set would be, or something like this. So yeah, that's one thing. The other thing he's working on is a bunch of the grab animations. So somebody put a placeholder grab animation in at some point in the project, and it's just stayed there forever. So anytime you go pick up a weapon, there's something really, really strange happening right now. So he's going to fix that up today with the new pipeline. So
it's like making video games is complicated.
Yeah.
Yeah, it can be complicated.
It's almost like there's more than one way to do things.
But you know what the goal is of making video games? To make it less and less complicated. That's what your goal is, right? Because we can make this as complicated as we want. We can give you anything you want, but to make it just takes you that much time. And the simpler it is, the better it is.
Well, that's reminding me of an old tweet I remember reading from who made it, John Carmack, where he actually was like, no, from having done both, making video games is harder than launching a rocket into space.
You're right, right. It's just very salient, right? Things change, priorities change,
Technology
bugs come
changes
up,
constantly.
technology changes, right?
And you can never predict when you're going to have that eureka moment on a particular issue.
It's true.
You know, you could be focusing on this, like this, and then you can't control what your brain suddenly goes, this is the answer to this other thing,
right,
and
that's
whatnot.
right.
So it tends to,
But as you get experienced, right, those happen faster and faster is the hope. So that you look at something for an hour and you're like, okay, come on, there it goes. Yeah, that's what we're gonna do. So.
But then the real benefit of crowdfunding is that it gives us the time and the bandwidth to do that. If we had Electronic Arts on our back and they were saying, you have to publish this game tomorrow, then we would have to use some.
It's the entire reason we went crowdfunded.
Yeah,
to have that freedom.
It's the reason a lot of games you see out there are not at all how they were incepted in the first place, because what happens when a publisher does that, and having worked in those kind of projects before, I know exactly what happens is they go, okay, I want my milestone before you get any more money whatsoever. And guess what you have to do? To do that, you either cut, there's this infamous development triangle that I used to call, and we used to talk about this at Crytek all the time, and you've basically got quality, money, and time. So you got to exist somewhere in there, right? And you can't have all of it, right? You're a little dot inside this triangle, and you've got to be kind of balancing, just like you balance your ship power versus weapons and stuff like that. It's the exact same when it comes to development. So when the time aspect gets pushed back, guess what's sacrificed, right? The quality and the production value of the stuff. So it means you cut features. That's why every game that you end up seeing on the market, and I shouldn't say every game, but a lot of games that you see on the market are I don't want to say watered down versions, but they're definitely cut versions. Yeah, sure. Like, I mean, oh yeah, we have this really cool feature that we're working on. Is that going to make Milestone 1? No. All right, cut it. You know, and that's one thing we don't have to do as much of here. Should we? That's maybe another conversation for another time. But we don't do it as much. We want to get those features in. We want this to be the best game ever, and that's how we think we're going to get it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yep.
Is the cute guy in the middle with the awesome hat single? Yes, I am.
This is my actual hair.
This one's single.
Yeah. For people that keep saying, give Sean Tracy his own show, he's working.
Yeah.
People, this is a logistical feat to get him here for 30 minutes.
Yeah, and I totally missed the time you asked me to come too.
Yes.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. So you understand it's yes, we'd love to have everybody have their own show and have 50 shows on one, but these are, you know, it's a treat. It's a special dispensation when they can take their time to hang out with us and answer our questions and whatnot. We would much prefer them actually working and making the game.
Yeah, and as I get and also consider, I've only just moved here, so I'm trying to get settled in terms of times and stuff like this. So once I get a little more settled in, I can probably get find an hour a week or something like this to join you guys and do some stuff.
Many folks have been asking about the Polaris. Is there wondering what, if any, information you're willing to share about the Polaris at this time?
None yet. I mean, even the name is not locked down. It's just what we were throwing around earlier in the week.
The Polaris is like a
Corvette.
vacuum.
I thought it was an X-Man.
Well, it's also a shopping mall in Columbus.
Daughter of Magneto.
Fair enough.
It's an ICBM, and it's a star, which is what's important for
It's also
RSI.
a pool filter.
It is a pool filter.
I used to install Polaris pool motors.
Really?
Yeah, I was a swimming pool contractor for years.
I need a new pump.
I have my C53 license in there. I can build a swimming pool right
I
now.
thought you worked on your pool.
I did, and then the pump stopped working, and that's about as far as I go.
No, let's talk after, dude.
I make it sound nice, like I have a pool. Yeah,
My C53 license is expired now, but I still know what I know.
Pond.
So I can help you under the table.
Wait, how can
So
you
back
do
to
this?
the question about
Back to the question about the
The
Polaris.
Corvette itself, yeah,
Wait,
it's.
how did we get there?
We just had an initial planning meeting on it. We've got some ideas on where we want to take it. I think, like Ben mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're looking at it being an RSI, looking at calling it the Polaris, but not much else to share yet.
It's essentially the goal is to be the ship the Idris was originally announced at before the UK turned it into a mega dreadnought.
Flying Fortress.
Yeah. It's like, oh, we'll just have this be. Oh boy. Yeah.
Shooting for about 100, 110 meters. And we have some ideas. We'll share them as we go.
Yep.
So, is there a concept yet for this? Does it exist?
We did a concept kickoff on Tuesday or Wednesday. And I think design is working on their brief for the artist now.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That's the first I've heard of it. Oh, that's cool.
This is one Chris has been talking about forever and ever and ever. Because I guess he promised very, very early on that there would be a Corvette, even though we'd upgraded the Idris, and everybody's been asking about it since then. And finally, we have a place in the schedule for it.
So it's a capital though.
Yeah,
size,
yeah.
right?
Yeah. Awesome. Probably be
Pick
like
it.
the smallest capital size combat ship right now.
I don't know. The Starfare is getting close.
It's not a combat ship. It's not a
Yeah,
ship.
yeah.
No, I mean, to capital size.
Oh yeah. This is more capital size combat stuff because I'm also I think like the Reclaimer and the Orion are going to probably have it most likely like a capital size power plant on them for their big industrial purposes. Not sure on the rest of their parts, but yeah, because we have some giant ships in this game.
Right.
And with that brings this week's Reverse to Averse to a close. I hope you enjoyed it, learned a few things or two. Thank you, Sean Tracy, for
very
taking your time
welcome.
to talk about stuff.
You're very welcome.
Thank you, Matt Sherman, for coming to tell us about your Dungeons and Dragons excursion.
Oh, yeah. I wanted to give a shout out to those backers. Also, I'll just do a shameless plug for, even though you guys mentioned it, the reference image post that's going on. So yeah, the Drake Buccaneer was also talked about when we were planning out the new Corvette earlier this week, and so just wanted to open up to you guys. Just there's a few quick blurbs on what the ship we're looking at for it. It's no concrete specs. We're not getting into that right now, but just take a look there, give it a read, and if there's any images or ships or anything that you think sort of inspires you from reading that, post it up there. We're just going to have that running for the next couple months or so while that ship gets its turn in the concept pipeline with everything else.
Cool.
Yes, months.
And if you find any fixes, let me
long-term
know.
planning.
That'd
But
be
no
good.
bugs.
But no bugs. Just tell me about
bugs.
fixes.
Any parting words?
Let's see. So tomorrow at 1, we're gonna just hang out, have an informal stream, watch the movies. Anybody's welcome to join us. Sunday at 10, I'm gonna be on a video game collecting podcast to talk Star Citizen. I'll put details up on my Twitter or wherever if you want to spend your weekends with us. Anybody else?
That's the best way to spend weekends.
All right, guys. That's Sean. That's Matt. That's Ben. That's Alexis. That's Justin. I'm Jared. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next week.